Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wellbeing Hub. I always feel like we're all sat in my front room having a little natter and a coffee. Now, I'm really excited to be back here in Manchester at the Trafford Centre, and so pleased to see so many of you and your faces, people that I've connected with on Instagram, people that I've met before, and some new faces as well. Everybody's welcome here. This is our second episode of the podcast, and today we have called this episode A More Radiant You. Now, we're specifically talking about teen skincare today because there's been a rise in skincare step routines for young people online. There's been a real focus on anti-aging for young people, and also this new term called clean beauty that I don't confess to know much about, but by the end of this podcast, I will be well versed on it. So we've all become aware that social media influencers, TikTokers are shaping young customers, their preferences, their routines, and ultimately what they go on to buy in store and online. So the purpose of today's episode is we want to help young people, we want to help teens, but we also want to help parents too get to the bottom of what's really needed for young skin. I'm hoping to learn a little bit about old skin for me as well, selfishly. So to help us cut through the noise today, we have invited some experts to the Wellbeing Hub. I am joined by Nya Temple. Hi everyone. And also Kirsty Stevenson.
Hi guys.
And I'm going to hand over to Nya first to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about herself.
Thank you. So my name is Nya Temple. I'm a self-taught makeup artist. I've been doing it since 2020. I'm 17 years old. So I've been in the industry quite a while. Well, personally for me, quite a while now. So I've grown up on that. I started quite young. I started 13. So I know all the stuff right now.
You started at 13?
Yeah.
And you're 17 now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to drill you on lots of questions. I'm sure you'll have lots of good answers for me about hashtags and trends, and hopefully you can help me with TikTok as well later.
I happily will.
Well, welcome. I'm so happy
you.
to have you
Thank
here.
you.
Kirsty?
Hi, I'm Kirsty. So I own Model Standard Skin Clinic. So I've been in the skin industry now for around 10 years owning a clinic and trained around 16 years ago. And we also own a skin training academy now. So just teaching girls from the age of 18 up until even I think our oldest has been around 60s, starting new skin careers and just everything about what's new, basically up and coming trends and things like that, and teaching them what to do with their skin and how they can build a skincare business for themselves.
Okay. And where is your clinic?
Liverpool City Centre.
Oh, great. Okay. Fantastic. So I feel like we've got a real mixture of expertise here and a wealth of experience around the table. I wanted to start off by sharing some data with you, which kind of led us to think this is a really important topic. So there was a recent study, this was performed by Klarna, and it said that Gen Z, in fact, I shouldn't assume everyone knows what Gen Z is. Gen Z is anybody born in 1996 to 2010. So the study revealed that Gen Z now spend more on skincare than any other generation. And of course, there's a new generation, which I only learned about this morning, called Gen Alpha. I don't know if anyone's heard of Gen Alpha. So I suppose that's probably my children. I've got two young daughters. Gen Alpha are born in 2010 to 2025, and they aren't far behind Gen Z in their purchasing and their spending within skincare. So some other research showed that in 2023, teen shoppers spent 33% more on cosmetics and 19% more on skincare compared to the previous year. Data also from Statista shows that the child skincare market is expected to experience an annual worldwide growth rate of about 7.71%. So I think that data shows that this isn't going anywhere. This isn't actually a trend. This is a movement. This is a need, and this is increasing as the year goes by. So I suppose, first of all, I would love to get your reaction to that data. And I think all too easily, instant reaction can be, oh, why do young people need skincare? They've got perfect skin. They're not aging. But I think that can be quite a naive response, because why is it okay to spend and invest lots in skincare when you need it? Why don't we talk about prevention rather than cure? And actually, I think if all of us cast our minds back to our younger years, children, teens, is when we first start to notice changes in our skincare. I mean, Nya, you talked about starting this journey at 13. Can you take me back to 13 and how you were feeling and what you were experiencing?
I feel like when I was 13, it was the start of lockdown. So a lot of people were posting like a lot. And I feel like you watch and you want to be like them, which can be quite bad and also can not really good. But sometimes like I remember when I was 13, I'd literally believe anything on social media because I just got it. I remember my mum didn't let me get Instagram until like I was 13. So, but obviously she was trying to protect me from seeing like people's posts and then me comparing myself. I feel like social media does have an impact, and obviously is like it makes you think that your skin should be perfect and there's nothing wrong with anything, which I think can be quite damaging at the young age.
Yeah. What sort of things did you see at 13 that you wanted to replicate and copy?
I used to I love makeup, so obviously I used to watch like makeup tutorials, and obviously at the start, when obviously they've got no makeup on, it would be like flawless makeup, like flawless skin. I'd be like, why is my video not looking the exact same? And it can be very upsetting. And obviously my mum used to always tell me, just don't react to other people's, because everyone's insecure about something, so people are going to be trying to hide stuff. So
yeah. What age do you think? You talk about being 13 and being really impressionable and influenced, and this kind of, it's a bit of a thief of joy, this comparison of other people. At what age were you when you started to think, oh, you know what, maybe that's not all real, what I'm seeing online, or maybe I'm okay as I am?
To be fair, I feel like that's only started kicking in now that I'm like 16, because I feel like you start to meet new people because of high school, and you realize everyone else feels the same way as well. And I feel like it does help, because I feel like recently now a lot of people are trying to promote like that you don't need to edit your picture, you don't need to do anything. Like, so I feel like only recently I've started to accept that, and I've been like, because obviously I've been on social media now for like 4 years. Now I'm starting to realize like the power of how powerful it can literally be and impact people's mental health and stuff. And I've also been on there for so long, I know the apps, like I know like how on some apps you can like filter it halfway through. So now I'm just like,
I didn't know that. Okay.
So now when I see a video and someone's like, oh, with this product, your pore's going to go, I'm just like, no, it's not. Like, and I'll know. But like when I was 13, I would have sat there and be like, oh my gosh, like I need to get that now, even though I didn't need it.
What about you, Kirsty, from your point of view, all of that data that I read out at the start, we can't ignore there is a need. And just to shut people down and say, well, you're too young, isn't going to work. It's like anything that young people want to try. If there's that want and that curiosity, they're going to try it. So is there something to be said for helping them and arming them with the right information?
Yeah, I do feel like it's really hard with like there's no guidebook. There's no like, when you turn 18, you should be doing X, Y, and Z, because everyone's skin is different. People can go through cystic acne from the age of 9, and then they'll be totally cleared by the 21, but then it can be vice versa as well. So you could have the most perfect skin as like through your teens, and then you'll get into your 20s and you'll then get problematic acne skin. And it's like, do you prevent that in your teens, like by using certain things? What I would say is, like we were talking about before, when you're obviously growing up, every single day, morning and night, you get a shower and you wash your body. So why should even young girls not be able to then go and get a cleanser and also wash the face? That's absolutely fine too. However, it's just knowing what to use and what not to use. So not using acids, just using really gentle products at first, and actually teaching them how they should be cleansing, what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. But I don't think there's a guide or rule book on, I don't think anyone can say, oh, you should be doing that, you shouldn't be doing that, because there's no specific rules. It's just knowing what is working for your skin at that time, because it can totally change every year.
See, I think for a parent, it can be quite a minefield, because I was a teenager in the 90s, and I would get my skincare advice from like a weekly magazine, Sugar magazine, Just 17, or just from watching my mum and stealing everything from the cabinet and stealing things that I didn't understand what they were, and burning my legs with Veet and a Mac, putting like really sort of rubbish fake tan all over my eyebrows, and all these kind of mistakes that you make behind the bathroom door with the door firmly locked and a towel under the gap. But it's really changed now. Would you say social media is at the helm of where young people get their skincare advice?
I do think it helps, but I think it can also make you overreact and overthink about certain things, because like, as I said before, how I used to like smother my face in so many products thinking it was doing best, but it actually was doing worse because I was like overloading my skin and like clogging all my pores and stuff. But I feel like with social media, they make you think like you need to get this, but not everything works for everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like with social media as well, you get very much influenced to buy something. And I'm very guilty of that. And I regret it so much because I'm just like, why did I get that? Because it doesn't work for me, but it works for everyone else.
It happens to me with clothes. I see someone in an outfit and I'm like, I'll get that because that looks great. And then I buy it and I'm like, it's like a potato sack on me. It's
definitely.
maybe they've had it clipped at the back or they've edited it. So sometimes you can get sucked in by the targeted adverts. Like,
Yeah, and I think during COVID as well, like you just overanalyzed everything about yourself because you had nothing to do
had
but
the
look in the
time.
mirror every single day, and you had the time. So you'd be going, oh, I don't like this about myself, or I don't like this about myself. And then there was a rise in like plastic surgery as well after COVID because people were just constantly, oh, I don't like this and I don't like this. And so they were just constantly on TikTok, constantly on Instagram, what skincare can I buy? Oh, that looks good. And then they just end up with stuff that they don't even know if it works for them or not.
Yeah. So do you think there's a sense of actually being overwhelmed?
Yeah, there's too much out there. There's too much information. And I think as well, a lot of influencers out there will really contradict themselves. So like I only notice it now more when I've been following someone for quite a while and everything they'll put up is an ad, which is amazing because, you know, that's how you make money and it really pushes things out there, treatments, products that really work, but they should only really be pushing what they really believe in because 1 week I could see them posting, you know, this is the best product for acne and you should never use this. And then the following week, they'll literally contradict what they've said.
Yeah.
And I have clients who like, they're like, oh, I bought this and then next week I bought that and they're spending hundreds of pounds on two completely different products. And it just because this one person who they follow, they absolutely just believe everything that they've said.
And I think we can all relate to this, not just in skincare, but whenever in life you are desperate or unhappy and you want a solution, you are vulnerable to buying into things and wasting money.
Yeah.
And I feel like as well with like, you know, like my mum always says, don't read, believe everything that you read on Google and like social media.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're so quick. If you like see something in your face, you're like, oh my God, what's that? Then you'll Google it. And you'll be like, and you'll be like, it will say you need this, this, this. You'll get all of that and it won't fix it.
So false claims.
Yeah.
I think the weight loss industry, the skincare industry are all guilty of that, preying on people's insecurities and their vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Did your mum help you navigate through the digital world then?
Yeah, she did because she tried to shield me from it for quite a while because I feel like it can be quite like, if you're on there from young, because as I said beforehand, one of my friends, this little sister, she's like 10, 9, and she's got a full skincare collection. When I was 10, I literally didn't have any of that. So I feel like it's good to shield away from a little bit. But social media, like I feel like it can have a positive impact as well because it also can educate you in some ways, obviously from the right people. So
yeah. See, my eldest is 10, my youngest is 6. So their skincare routine is really all about, they have eczema, they have dry skin. So they're just, you know, moisturizing with a cream. And that's as far as their skincare goes. My 10-year-old wants a phone. At the moment, she has like an old broken one with no battery that she walks around talking to herself. I don't know if that's even more dangerous, that I'm encouraging her to talk to herself. But yeah, she's not in that world yet. And I'd be interested to know for both of you, because I would imagine with your business, you have to be submersed in the digital world. You have to be submersed in social media. You're saying you grew up on it. Do you think it has impacted you negatively or positively? And if it has, either way, in what ways is that?
I feel like,
No, go on.
I feel like for me, it's a bit even because I feel like for what I do for like content creating, I've got to be on my phone. But that also can be really bad because I'll be start having my food and my mum will be like, can you just put your phone down for 1 second? I'm like, no, I need to reply to my manager.
I ignore my husband every dinner time on my phone.
And I feel like as well, like any moment, like if I'm going somewhere nice, I'll be like, wait a minute, to my friends, can you take a picture of me here, please? Can you just give me a sec so I can get a story? So I feel like it can be quite consuming, but also I have to be on the phone as well, like in the worst way possible. It sounds really bad, I have to be on my phone, but I kind of have to.
Yeah.
And it's part of your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's like, I hate it. I literally am like, if I just didn't have to do this part of work, then I would never do it because I find myself, I'm looking, you sit there, don't you, like scrolling then for hours and you're intrigued on everyone else and you do, like, you start comparing yourself to everyone else on social media and then you're like, I don't like this, so I'm going to go and fix this. And then you're looking at other people and you're like, oh, but she's got that and she looks like this and I need to change this and I need to change that. And I think social media is amazing for so many things, but then it can be so destructive at the same time for you wanting to be someone that you're not constantly.
And I think you're right. I mean, there's kind of scientific studies that have proven, overusing our phone links to depression, anxiety. I don't know if anyone just experiences themselves, if they sit there for a good, you come home from work and you think, I should tidy up, but what I will do is sit here and look at strangers for 3 hours first. And then you come away thinking, I think ridiculous things like, my cupboards are so untidy compared to other people, and I don't do that. I should organise this for my kids, and it could be the most ridiculous things that I wasn't unhappy about that in my life 3 hours ago, and now I've let that into my world. So I think it is about using that responsibly.
But then on the other side, I think it's really good when you see people and they're not ashamed to be like, behind the scenes, or this is what it's like breastfeeding, and this is a day in their life, and it's not all so like just. I think a lot of people are doing it now, making people aware that everything isn't picture perfect. Like there's always things that you can't have the balance. Your business can be doing amazing, but your home life could just be a total mess.
That's
so like
true.
It's just showing people that like we are all human,
being
it's
authentic.
Normal, nothing's, not
I love
everything
them
is
posts.
perfect.
Like when people are like, this is me like taking the picture and this is me like posting the picture. I love them kind of posts because it's like that's just being
with
so
the like
real.
posing,
Yeah,
and really skinny.
and then or like when they relax their body, and it's like I love seeing them post because it's quite like nice to see.
Yeah, I have to get my husband to take about 100 pictures and then I tell him off because I don't like any of them. So I want to talk to you about buzzwords. In the introduction to this podcast, I talked about a term which is called clean beauty. Can you raise your hand in the audience if you've ever heard of the term clean beauty? Oh, well, a couple of people have. Okay, see, I hadn't. Okay, can you, I want to say myth bust, or can you just explain to me what is clean beauty?
So I will let you go on this because I actually will hold my hands up that I haven't heard that much of clean beauty before.
Oh, what's dirty beauty? That sounds better.
I know a few myths that you were meant to used to use, but clean beauty wise, I'm not that.
So people try to say like there's like a clean girl aesthetic, but I don't agree with it because I don't think there's any like amount of makeup or skincare that makes you clean. Like how you feel is how
Does it
clean
mean
you
like
are.
perfect?
Yeah, like they try to say like if you wear less makeup you're like clean girl, but I don't believe that because obviously you can wear as much makeup as you want and you're still clean. Like, it's just a bit stupid.
Because I always think that is attaching that thing, which I think is quite damaging, of that if you suffer from some kind of skin condition, whether it's acne, eczema, psoriasis, that is associated with poor hygiene, which we all know is completely untrue. And I think that sort of blames somebody. It makes it say, this is your fault because of lack of self-care or lack of routine. And that kind of stuff is really damaging.
And then imagine being the person on the other side of the phone thinking, well, am I not clean then? Am I dirty? Am I?
It'll get you
I don't
like,
fit
overthinking.
that.
I almost
that,
think it's a bit discriminating.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any other buzzwords that I don't know that I should know or should start using them?
It's mainly the clean girl. Right now, that is like everything I see, but I'm just like scrolling past it. I'm just like...
That down to as well, like what you're wearing, like matching
and it's just like
how you have your coffee cup, like
like with hair as well. I'm just like, so if I don't have my hair like that, am I not counted as clean girl? Like, it's
you wouldn't want to see me.
Do you know what I'm a real sucker for? And if you watch TikTok or Instagram, you'll know what I mean. I'm a sucker for buying all these tools and gadgets. They're essentially just pieces of plastic and a stick. And it's like, I'll see someone rolling a stick on their face. Then they're rolling a stick on their face that goes in the fridge. Then they're rolling a stick on their face that has crystal healing power. Then they're rolling a shaped stick, like a T shape under their eyes. And then my husband's like, what's this? Another stick you brought? And then I put them in the fridge. I put them in the freezer with all our food. And he's
then
like,
you don't use them.
You don't
use
use
them.
them.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's getting sucked into seeing other people's skincare routines. I mean, I'd love to know both of your skincare routines, how many steps it is and what it involves.
Mine is really simple, to be honest. I am a creature of habit to have stuck to the same kind of skincare brands for years. But up until I would say last year was when I added a couple of more bits in. I would literally cleanse, moisturise, SPF. Now I will add in like a vitamin C and then maybe a retinol every now and then. But I'm really, like my skin's quite sensitive. So like I've used things with retinols in before and I'll really react to them. So for me, it is just knowing, gradually I can add things in when it's needed. And I suppose things have evolved so much from 10 years ago when I first done skincare to now.
Yeah.
But throughout my clients, what I've had, I've personally felt that the people who use less skincare have better skin.
Well, that's interesting because it said that teens are developing
Using like 10
12 step. Is that a bad thing then to have a 12 step?
I mean, you don't need a 12 step, especially at that age. But I do think a lot, literally. Like, there's so many people that come in and I'll go, what do you use? And they'll be like, I've just used like this oil, or I've just for like 50 years, or I've
Yeah.
just used this. And the ones that literally strip it back and use like 3 things daily, they're the ones with the best skincare.
That's
So we
interesting.
don't think a 10
Yeah.
step
Okay.
is needed.
How many steps skincare
I
routine
think
do
I
you have?
used like 5. That's the thing, because I used to overload my skin so badly when I was younger. But I feel like it's because you used to see people doing like, take my makeup off with me, and they'll be doing like loads of stuff, and I was like, okay, I need to do that. And then my face, I'd literally be looking so greasy, and it would look,
Okay.
it'd be worse. But I use, because I suffer with a lot of pigmentation. Like whenever I get a spot, it always scars. Like I don't know why, but so I use a lot of products for that. But just for my skin, just normal cleanser, and then sometimes I tone because I find my skin's quite sensitive. So if I use too much toner, it will feel really like.
Strip it
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
tingly.
literally. So I use it like probably once, twice a week, and then just a moisturizer because I find that I get dry skin
Yeah, I've
afterwards.
got
I think.
gorgeous.
And do you have like any desert island products? You know, we all have like if we got stranded, a product that we would have to have. I mean, it's hard to say just one, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I only because I've started adding it in, I love vitamin C. I think it's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
stops the
I just thought that was an
pigmentation.
orange or a tablet. I didn't even know vitamin C could go on the
And
skin.
also, like, I only learned this the other day, and I do skincare. There's like different forms of vitamin C, and some of them, like, which are in a lot of products that are out there that you can buy,
Okay.
don't actually do the job.
What's the
It's just-
benefit of vitamin C then?
So it will prevent pigmentation, and it really hydrates your skin. It gives your skin like an even tone, basically. So it will help. It doesn't like give you a flawless filter. God, don't want people going to buy vitamin C now, but it'll help prevent pigmentation and any blemishes, anything like that you've got on the skin. And that is one that is better to use before you get the pigments, before you get the blemish, because it's a protective. It'll stop you from getting it as well.
I'm gonna have to get some vitamins.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Like,
A few vitamin C sells out tomorrow. Okay, what about you,
for
Nya?
me, it would be moisturizer because my skin goes so dry, and I feel like I hate the feeling of like, you know, when you like smile, it just feels so dry. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I need a moisturizer. I've only recently started using SPF. That sounds really bad, like because I didn't realize how much of the impact not using SPF in your like skincare was.
Until you see them videos.
Yeah, and,
though,
and
you
it's
know, when
like
they're,
under the
half
sun, yeah, and there's just like
yeah.
using one side SPF, using
Yeah.
not, and it's like, oh my god, I didn't even
Yeah.
realize I've used that. So maybe a moisturizer with SPF then that would be mine.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Now, I really want to talk about aging and anti-aging, and it's for me this is the biggest shift because you know, for as long as I can remember, aging and anti-aging targeted women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, beyond, and more or less shamed women for aging, which I find ridiculous. You know, I'm 40. To shame people for living, because we know what the opposite to aging is. I'm thrilled to be here. I love life. I'm proud to be 40. And actually, aging is a privilege. You know, I know a lot of people that have lost out on that privilege and are no longer with us. But now what has happened is there's a shift where I'm with you today who's 17, and I'm going to ask you about anti-aging products. So my first reaction was, oh, now we're shaming the younger women as well as the older women. Great. But actually, I suppose I shouldn't be so narrow-minded, and I should think, well, is it important? You know, you're very much about knowledge and training and empowering women. Is it important that we talk to our young women about anti-aging products, preventions, rather than cures? Is it important that this is a conversation for everybody? And when does that change into making young and older women paranoid, ashamed, over-analyzing, you know, looking in the mirror at every imperfection? Where is the balance? And for you both, where have you felt that change?
I feel like there's always going to be something. So, like, you know, like when you were saying years ago, it was all about anti-aging for mature women and then making them feel, you know, why am I aging? I shouldn't be aging. And now it's prevention for young girls. And then in another 10 years, it's going to be something completely different. I feel like, again, it's just about educating girls and saying, you know what, it's okay to use these products, but maybe wait until you're 20, because prior to that, it'll really strip your skin. But when you get to 20, you'll lose collagen, which keeps you firm and supple, and you can start doing that. But then again, it's like torn between the point of you trying to give them another task for them to do in the daily life, another problem to worry about, something else to think about, when aging is just a natural process. No matter how much Botox, fillers, treatments that we get, we're going to age, and you can change everything about your face, but then you're going to start working on every body part as well, because that will show. Like,
Yeah, death becomes her. Has anyone seen the film? Death
No.
becomes her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean to say then that for anyone young who's listening to this podcast and maybe they've got typical skin complaints of a teen that might be hormonal, that might be an oilier skin type, that might be acne, comedones, this kind of thing. Is there something to be said for just sitting with that and going through it and not trying to over-treat it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think when children or even anyone with acne and oily skin, they'll literally automatically go to Google, go to the internet, and they'll be like, what can I use? What acid can I use? And it'll say like maybe like salicylic acid, and they'll go to a counter and they might buy something which is a really high percentage, which can damage the skin. Where if they actually understand, okay, this is my hormones. If someone sat down with them and said, this is your hormones, this is what they're going through, your skin's not going to be like this forever. So maybe let's start with something simple. And yes, get the salicylic acid, but let's do like a very minor 0.2%. And maybe like, don't know, maybe a company needs to come out and bring out like, this is your age and this is what you suffer with and this is good for you. But I think the issue now with products on the stores, it's like shiny object syndrome. They're all packaged really pretty. And,
I'm drawn into a good
and they'll have good packaging, but, and they'll go like, oh, this is for someone who's got acne and they're young, and because they're not educated on what they should be using, they'll just buy it because it looks really pretty.
As a professional, do you have a kind of products teens should not be using, should not touch? And over here, do you have products that all teens should use?
I definitely think all teens should always gentle cleanse every single morning and night, and getting into that habit. It's just part of like looking after yourself. And then maybe they can moisturize if they want to. They don't need to do a million things, but definitely at least like a gentle cleanse. Unless they've got really problematic skin, then I would definitely say like they can start to maybe exfoliate once a week, because teens are running about all the time. They're at school. Like, they could be a boy. They're playing football. Girls do play football too. Playing football, you know, really greasy, oily skin, and they need that little bit of extra. You know, they might need to exfoliate once a week. What I wouldn't have them using is things like retinols, vitamin C, any peptides in. It's really, really going to damage the skin. And in the long run, when they're like 25, 30, because there's no aftercare with it, they'll be like, why did I do that? The skin barrier is so thin. I've destroyed my skin.
We used to do, I mean, if my mum's listening, sorry, but we used to do dreadful things to our spots. We used to pull our spots off with tweezers. We used to get, because we heard alcohol would dry them out, we used to get aftershaves, toothpaste, and
Witch
put them all.
hazel.
Witch hazel was the thing that was marketed to us as our only.
Tea tree, but I think that is still a thing, isn't it?
We used to do crazy.
Strong. Like I remember when I was younger, I thought, oh, just the green packaging looks so nice. I'd use it. It literally like burn my face because it was so strong. But I remember hearing about the toothpaste one. My mum used to always tell me that when I was younger.
Yeah, I used to use.
I think the toothpaste one works. Because
it burns.
It's probably not advisable, is it? What about you, Nya? How do you feel about aging? And is it, like, as a 17-year-old woman, is it an outside noise that you feel is pushed onto you?
Yeah, I feel like as well, like with retinol products as well, on that topic as well, I feel like we get told not to use it because we're too young, but we never get told when to start using it or how much we should be using it. Like, I don't know anything about retinol. I just know my mum said, don't use it, you're too young. But am I like, do I not start using like little bits, like stuff like that? Because obviously when I was 13, I wouldn't touch. Well, I did, but like that's the product. Like it was in my, like, I remember when you get like little sachets of like freebies, I remember I just put it on because it looked cool in the packet. My mum was like, you're too young, why are you using that? But now I feel like now that I'm starting to get older, I'm like, do I need it? I need like guidance, but I feel like with that it's like it's hard to get the guidance because you don't know what to believe as well. Like
I think retinol can be used for other things as well, because that's why it can be contradicting. Retinol is really good for anyone with acne. So like when they say you're allowed to use a certain percent when you're 18, automatically they're like, people with acne will go, I'll use the retinol now. And it is like doctors will tell you to go and use it when you've got acne, and it's really, really good because it'll turn the cells over and it'll make your skin nice and healthy underneath. But from like an aging perspective, I would say like 25. And again, like I can't even really use it because I'm super sensitive. So like people, even if they're not sensitive, it's like they love the burn, isn't it? Like the burn will give like a better result basically. But I just think just go with your own skin, but maybe start like 20s.
Do you feel targeted in, so someone of my age, I would feel targeted in sort of anti-aging products. I would see women my age using those products. Do you, at 17, feel targeted in ads? Do you feel pressurized to fear getting old? And do you
I feel like a lot of people pressure and say like once you turn a certain age, like you need to start getting Botox, start getting all this, but you don't actually need to be getting that. Some people I know, like some of my friends say they want it as soon as they turn 18, and I'm like, but do you need it? Like, so I feel like there's such a pressure on social media because you see everyone with like smooth, like everything, and it just makes you want to then, as soon as we get that legal 18 age, to change everything. But I don't think it should be like that
But
whatsoever.
then I also think that comes down to why is the therapist who's an adult doing that? Like that should
Yeah.
be their like responsibility to say no, absolutely not.
Is there
I'm not
skin
gonna do
shaming?
that.
Is there such thing as skin shaming? Do
I
you
feel
think?
like some people, like especially high school, like I know like if you had like a lot of spots, people would be like, oh, like you can do dot to dot. Like people were
Yeah.
quite cruel, like in high
Yeah.
school about like skin, which is really random because everyone in their life, like you can get like I remember my mum had clear skin up to like 20 and she got acne at 21, so now she's trying to like make me prevent everything. Like she's like, don't use this because obviously it runs in the family. She's like, try not do this. Like she's right now she's like really strict on me with my skincare because she just doesn't want me to go, because back then I feel like with acne there's more stuff now to like help and tame it than back then. So she was using stuff that wasn't working for it. So she's like to me, she's like, try this but don't do too much because we don't want it to happen
She's
to me.
passing on her knowledge.
Yeah. But sometimes I'm like, but it worked for you, but would it work for me? Like obviously it runs in the family, so it might work a little bit, but obviously everyone's skin is also different.
What about knowing too much? So there's things now like facial scanners where you can go in and see where your sun damage is. I mean, for me, when I was like 18, I used to like go around to different sunbed shops, like 3 a day, and just keep going to different places and have a nap on a sunbed. And if I went in a facial scanner now, I almost think, oh, I don't think I'd want to know. You know, I'm SPF 50 all the time. I've wised up, I've grown up, I've got more knowledge. Is there something to be said for knowing too much and over-analysing?
Yeah, I think like you wouldn't, if you went into if everyone went into a facial scanner and they were like, you know, your pigmentation is really deep, you've got like 30 years of bad pigment, I feel like there would be so many things you could pick out that then you're just, again, you consume to wanting to look after every single part of it. Whereas really, when you walk around day to day, if you don't see it in the mirror and no one points it out, not why you're working on it, because you should be if you want to, but then also, you know, it's not something that's affecting you every single day. So maybe just start, like you said, wear your SPF protective from a point of view from now, and not try and like have all these laser treatments and everything else because it's under the skin, you wouldn't see it. So I think it just makes everyone a bit more paranoid having these things out there.
I know if I was to get a full scan, because I know there's some stuff where you can get like a full body scan. Some of my friends are like, I want, that's why I know everything wrong with me. Personally, I wouldn't. Because,
I'd be so paranoid.
because it would really paranoid me, and it would like, if I knew how much was on my skin, I don't even want to know, but like, it would really panic me, and it would make me like buy so much stuff that wouldn't even work. Like I feel like if I saw like something like bad pores, and I'd be going into this nearest shop and getting so much pore stuff, and I'd be like wasting money. So it made me overthink. I think I would not like a full scan. Like
It's bad enough getting a blood test and knowing what's going on, and then a whole body scan. I feel like I've learned so much from you both, and we're coming to the end of our session. And, you know, I think the key thing here is I think we're all out here trying to navigate a world that can be complex, can be overwhelming. And I think you've given both of you some really valuable insights and advice. And I thought maybe it would be nice for all three of us just to leave a little bit of advice at the end of this podcast, whether it's one thing to remember or one thing that helps us. I mean, my piece of advice to everybody would be, you know, I don't have the answers, just like everybody else. I can go on my phone too much. Comparison can really get me down sometimes. And something that works for me within the genre of skin is if I'm online too much looking at skin, which isn't the real world, that is the online world. So the online world is people's chosen moments, usually at their best and edited. So I will write down 3 or 4 things about skin that have made me feel bad. So it might be like, why does no one else's makeup look sort of cracked and creased like mine? Why do some people have no pores or even sort of indentations or marks where their expressions are? And why are nobody's eyelashes stuck together like a spider? And I'll write those down in my notes section on my iPhone. And then I task myself, this week, how many people do I meet face-to-face at work or in the playground when I pick the kids up who have those things? How many face-to-face women do I meet with no cracks and creases in their makeup, with no stuck-together eyelashes, and women that have no pores? And when I find them in real life, I need to write it in my iPhone section. I never find those women. And it really, really reminds me the comparisons I'm making are not from the world I'm living in. That is the online world. And I know that might sound obvious, but I sometimes need those obvious reminders of live in the present moment. Don't live in the online world. Don't live in the past. It's gone. It's finished. Don't live in the future. It's not yet arrived. It may never even happen. Live in the world that you exist in, and you will feel much more balanced. So I'd love to hear from you guys if you had things that haven't worked for you or have worked for you that just help you feel confident or centered, because skincare is a minefield, and I don't think any of us feel confident every single day.
Yeah. Mine would probably be maybe prior to actually, looking what other people have purchased or looking at the packaging and thinking, oh, that's really great, I'm going to buy that. Before you go and buy it, it's like, when you see a dress for a night out and you think, do I want it, do I not want it? And then you go home and you think about it and you've been dreaming about the dress, and the next day you're like,
Always.
should have bought the dress, so you go back and get it.
Yeah.
Just give yourself some time. So if you see it on the shelf, you see it on Instagram, in TikTok, and you think, I'm going to go and buy that, actually just educate yourself a little bit. So go and do a little bit of research and be like, what is my skin like? Is this going to work for me? And then go and spend your money on it, because one, you're not wasting money, and then two, you're not doing something damaging to your skin, which
Yeah,
isn't.
I love
and you'll
that.
forget about it by the next week, because something new will be out.
And you'd research other, you might research electrical appliances, food, holidays. So why
Yeah.
not put that level of research
Yeah.
into your skincare?
Yeah, it's not wasting, is it?
That's
For
brilliant.
me, my point relates very much to yours, Katie, as well. Mine is like how don't get too consumed on social media, because it has its benefits, but it also has a lot of negatives. And I feel like when you're young as well, you get very sucked into it. Like, I know I could be scrolling and it would be like 2:15, say, for instance, and I'd be like, okay, I'll have another 5 minutes. The 5 minutes will go past and I'd be like, okay, another 5 minutes. It's not going to hurt.
me.
And I feel like when you keep watching something, it then puts more of that on your feed. So then you're just like consumed in the whole thing. So, but the thing is, most of them people that are filming them videos have their own insecurities. They probably don't like filming without makeup. Some probably don't even like they probably love makeup, so they cover everything. But just don't believe everything you read and see, as it can be just so damaging.
Yeah, I think that's a really important reminder. But you can believe everything you've heard on this podcast today. It has been so fantastic to chat to you both, ladies.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your wisdom and your time. And if people want to find out more or follow you, do you have places where we can go look you up? Your handles, your tags, your businesses?
Gonna say yes.
Okay, all of my socials just Nya Temple.
And mine will just be under model standards.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us here today at the Wellbeing Hub. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll be back here for another pod in a few weeks' time, so do join us again. Thank you.